I'm Derek Johnson with Tatango.com. This is a week in review for week 34 of 2020. What a year it's been. So these text messages are coming from SMSarchives.com. Check it out. Over 2,000 text messages have been archived from some of the top brands. Let's jump into it right now. The first text message we have comes from Jack in the Box, one of my favorite. And actually, this is not a text message or an SMS message. This is an MMS message. Why do I know that? Well, it has an image at the very top. Get ready for 7 days of savings. Now, a lot of people aren't doing this in an MMS message. In the image, they actually just put an image. You can put an image and text. There's no problem with that. I kind of like it. It draws attention to then read the bottom kind of message. So get ready for 7 days of savings. Jack in the Box. Jack's week of offers is back. Don't miss out on secret savings and get the Jack app today. Download now. So they're promoting their mobile app. We do see a lot of QSR type companies like Jack in the Box do this, where they promote their mobile app, because once you get somebody to download the mobile app and you have their SMS, opt in, it's really a perfect combo. You're going to increase ROI, just like if you have their email and their SMS, opt in, you're going to increase ROI. At least the studies have shown. So this one, great use. One thing I would do, I say this to everybody, if you're using an MMS message, make sure the link doesn't preview. This one's a little confusing because there's a huge Jack in the Box logo at the bottom, then an image at the top. I think it looks a little messy. What I would do is just put a blue link. Don't have it link preview. Usually that can be done by just putting something under the link in the text message, like text stop to opt out, something like that. Okay, let's jump to the next one. Okay, this one is Fossil, the watch company. So Fossil, fall in love with hybrid HR. I don't know what hybrid HR is. Extended battery life. I'm guessing this is kind of like one of their brands or sub-brands. Extended, or a product, I guess. Extended battery life, glanceable notifications. So kind of like maybe an Apple Watch or something. And customizable alerts. This smart watch has it all. And then they have a link. The link is being previewed. They're using a bit.ly so they can track. You can see kind of on the screen here that it is a bit.ly. For this kind of thing, I would definitely use either a link preview image, because this one, it's very, very small. I don't even know what that little black angular box is. It may just be an icon. Actually, it's the Fossil icon, I'm guessing. For this one, because I didn't even know what the hybrid HR was, I would definitely use an MMS message, a huge image, or even better, a GIF, so the thing is spinning around. Or if you want to go even, better, do a video. That'd be awesome. You got to encourage people to click through. So giving them a little more info. This one, not that much info. Not that, I think buying a watch or buying something, a luxury, good like a watch, you got to get enticed. You got to see the image. You got to see the different angles. Maybe somebody wearing it and be like, that looks cool. I want to click through and figure out how much it is. So I think they could do a little bit better on this one. Okay, let's jump to the next one. Ooh, PacSun. This one is PacSun. Sneakers equal 50%, or sorry, sneakers equal extra 50% off jeans equal 25% or $25. I'm not sure, $25. I'm guessing jeans are just $25, not $25 off. I do like how they are kind of mixing things up, where they're putting sneakers equal extra 50% off. They're not making complete sentences. Sometimes that's okay, depending on who your audience is. I'm guessing PacSun is a little younger than maybe even myself. So they would get this more than I just did, where I kind of had to reread things. And I love the line breaks. Good use of line breaks, double line breaks there in between the jeans equal $25 and then the reply stop to cancel. Today's your only chance to cop these deals. They have the link there. That's great. It's one of those blue links. It's not being previewed because there's something below it. Reply stop to cancel. Always people ask me, do I need to put reply stop to cancel in every single text message? You can. It doesn't hurt. I encourage it. I think it's good. It's like email marketing. It should be in every message. But the CTIA handbook for short code messaging only states that you need to do it at least once per month. So you only need to do it once per month, but you can do it more. It doesn't hurt. There is nothing though in the guidebook that says you need to put like message and data rates or help for help. I see a lot of brands doing that. You don't need to do that. So reply stop to cancel works, reply stop to end. I do like reply stop to cancel, where they're using reply rather than like text stop to cancel. People, I think when they get text stop to cancel, they're like, well, who am I supposed to text? I like reply. And also that's another thing. If you're doing like a double opt-in, if you say text yes to confirm your opt-in, I think a few people will be confused, where reply yes makes so much more sense. So just a little advice there. Again, that is PacSun. Okay, then we have Old Navy here. This one's an interesting one. I don't know if this is an MMS message because it's more than 160 characters, or it's a concatenated, I know that's a crazy word, SMS message. So the concatenated, and I had to look up how to say this, is a SMS message that essentially is formed as one message, one big message on the software, then broken up by the software after the send, and then reassembled on the phone, and then only displayed to the consumer once all of the pieces have been put back together. That's how you can do a 500, 750 character SMS message if it is that. Or it could just be an MMS message. My thing, if it's an MMS message and you just want to send a lot of characters, throw in an image, a GIF, a video. Why not? It's just going to make the message look better. So this is a huge message. Good use of line breaks here. I would do another line break under multi-packs this way, details and exclusions, just because, details and exclusions is definitely not as important as having them click the link. Now, that link looks like a tracking link, so they're tracking, who's clicking on them. And then they have their little disclosure, masks are not medical grade and not for kids under 3. And then they put the stop to end. I think the stop to end, that doesn't make any sense from a consumer standpoint. It makes sense for me. I get it. I think people in SMS marketing, they get it. But if you really think about that, what am I supposed to do with that if I want to opt out? I love being as clear as possible, especially if this is an MMS or a long SMS message. Why not just include reply stop to end? Now you can say reply stop and then the number 2 to end, or you can spell out to. I don't think that matters, but I think you got to give instruction to the consumer on how to actually opt out, not just stop to end. I don't think that makes much sense for most consumers, and it might just even create confusion, or worse is that, the brand is trying to kind of, mislead or try to, dupe the customer to not opt out. That's very bad. So just some advice there, but I love the length of the message. I see a lot of brands, they'll send pretty much like this message, they'll send, the same length of message every single message. You don't want to do that. You want to have small messages big messages with, GIFs, small messages with images. You want to try to mix it up every single time, because if you send the same message, the same kind of format, it almost looks like you're sending the same thing every single time. So just some advice, if you're sending a lot of messages, make sure they're varied all of the time. Big, small, GIF, MMS, long SMS, just vary it up as much as you can. Okay, the next one we have here, and the last one is SwimOutlet. You can see they have an MMS message, really, really small on the image. I cannot read that on my screen, and I'm guessing you can't read that on your phone. Be aware that the MMS message or image is only so big. The text is way too small for this one. SwimOutlet, send friends and family, $10 first order. It's a win-win. So it's kind of a cool refer a friend type campaign, which I love. If you're doing an MMS message, I prefer the blue link rather than the preview. But overall, it's a good message. But definitely, that the image should be way easier to read, way less text on that image. It's just way too small. I literally cannot even read what it says at the bottom there in that white. But I do like the color contrasts. That draws my attention. So use what they've said, or use what they've done in terms of the color contrast, but definitely make the text way bigger and way less stuff on the image so that the text can be bigger. Okay, that is it. That is a review of week 34 in 2020. And again, my name is Derek Johnson with Tatango.com. You can find all of these text messages at smsarchives.com, where we have over 2,000 text messages archived over, I think, 100 brands. A great resource. Definitely check out messaging and then hit the filters. They're really cool. You can filter by emojis, holidays, whatever you want. It's a great use if you're looking to, figure out kind of what other brands are doing to get inspiration for your own SMS campaign. Again, my name is Derek Johnson with Tatango.com. Thanks everyone for tuning in.